Good evening, everybody. I think you can hear me properly. Uh, Now, we have been discussing about theories of Emil Durkheim. So, there are three theories of Durkheim related to social facts and division of labor and theory and uh, typology of suicide. And we have discussed the theory of social facts. And theory of division of labor. And there are uh, uh, there are Durkheim's drew up a distinction between two forms of solidarity, namely mechanical solidarity and organic solidarity. Now, solidarity mean now some kind of unity between people, and so there is a link between division of labor and social solidarity. Social solidarity means social cohesion or social integration, and it refers to the integration and degree or type of integration manifested by a society or group. A linkage between people. So, and it refers to the condition within a group in which there is social cohesion plus cooperative and collective action directed towards the achievement of group goals. So, some kind of collection behavior is there in the society, and they act towards achieving a similar goal. And the basis of solidarity serves as a parameter of differentiation between simple societies and complex society. How to differentiate these two kind of society, and Durkheim made these two societies distinguished from each of them in terms of this concept of solidarity. And according to him, the primitive societies or simple societies were characterized by organic solidarity based on division of labor. And mechanical solidarity, solidarity is social solidarity based on homogeneity of values and behavior. There was a similarity of values and behavior of people in this. And they have a strong social constraints, and they are loyalty to tradition and kingship. And this term is applied to small non-literate societies characterized by simple division of labor. And there is very little specialization of function, only a few social roles and very little tolerance of individuality. And according to the this mechanical solidarity is a solidarity of resemblance. It is rooted in the symbols of a society. In a society built on mechanical solidarity, individuals do not differ much from one another. Their society is very simple, and their likes and dislikes are not very different, and their expectations are also similar to each other. They feel the same emotions, cherish the same values, and hold the same things sacred because they are the members of the same collectivity. And in such a society, there is coherence because individuals are not yet differentiated. They are not very much differ from one another. And they have a strong state of collective conscience. That means their beliefs and sentiments, they are average. That means almost everyone have the similar kind of beliefs on the things. And this mechanical solidarity prevails in mostly in primitive societies. And this common conscience completely covers individual mentality and morality. And there is and social constraint is expressed most decisively in repressive or severe criminal law, which serves to maintain mechanical solidarity. Then organic solidarity. It's a type of societal solidarity typical of modern industrial society, where the unity is based upon the interdependence of a very large number of highly specialized roles in a system involving a complex division of labor. And it requires cooperation of almost all the groups and individuals of the society. This is what you call organic solidarity, and it's you can see it in the modern industrial societies, and people in there have unity because they are interdependent to each other, and they have very highly specialized roles. In each individual has a role, and system is running based on their roles. So they are interconnected because of their roles in the society. So this is another kind of unity. And this organic solidarity is called as organic because it is similar to the unity of a biological organism, in which highly specialized parts or organs must work in coordination if the organism is to survive. Now, you may, I think you can understand this. If you think of our body, we have many organs inside us. We have a digestive system, respiratory system, like that. Many organs are there. So each organ has a special function. So unless these organs work properly, we can't survive. So each organ has a specialized function, and this function is coordinated by the nervous system. The messages are given to each part by the nervous system. So there is coordination within each part of these organs in our body. Likewise, in organic solidarity, there is coordination, and there are a lot of people, and they have, each has a specific role, specific work, specific function, and he or she has to do it. If one fails to do it, it affects to the whole system, right? This word organic is given because it is similar to the function of the biological organisms or human beings or animals. I think you can understand this. So this organic solidarity is opposite to mechanical solidarity. Durkheim described the increasing density of population as the key to the development of division of labor. Now, with the increase of population, the division of labor also develops. And division of labor and the consequent dissimilarities among men bring about increasing interdependence in the society. And the division of labor, the work in the society is divided, and they people there are dissimilarities. They people are differ from one another. Their qualities, their expectations, all are differ from one another. But and they have different kind of work and function. So that is the cause for the increasing interdependence in the society. The interdependence is reflected in human mentality and morality, and in the fact of organic solidarity itself. That kind of interdependence is reflected or shown by the human mentality and morality, and uh, in the that 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 also changes according to the interdependence in the society. So organic solidarity emerges with the growth of division of labor. So it starts with this growth of division of labor. So this is especially witnessed in modern industrial societies, as I have mentioned earlier. So organic solidarity uh, results from the differentiation in the society, because there's a different uh, now in mechanical solidarity, the society is simple. There were fewer people, fewer expectations. Now as the population grows, this pattern changes. There's a vast differentiation in the society, and it paves the way to the organic solidarity. So individuals are no longer similar to each other, but they are different now. It is because individuals are different that consensus is achieved. With the increase of division of labor, the collective consensus lessens. That means it reduces. They have no uh, cooperative idea. That mentality, collective mentality is decreased with the increase of division of labor. Um, so an increase in the organic solidarity would represent more moral progress, and they stressing higher value on equality, liberty, fraternity, and justice. So in the organic solidarity, there is higher stress for moral progress, moral wise, uh, and stressing the values, higher values of equality, gender equality, and many kinds of equality and liberty, uh, independence, and justice. And even here, the social constraint in the form of contracts and laws continue to uh, uh, process as a major role. And the, uh, here also social constraint and laws continue to uh, play their role. And the difference between mechanical and organic solidarities. Now, Durkheim was able to distinguish between mechanical and organic solidarity by identifying the demographic and morphological features based on each type. And he identified the typical forms of low and formal features and the content of conscience collective, which ought to be associated with each type. And division of labor is different from integration. Durkheim views division of labor and disintegration as two different things. Disintegration, according to him, the industrial fail, many kinds of crises, conflicts, and crimes. Now, disintegration occurs due to these kind of bad effects. All these are pathological in nature. They are like germs in the society. We have to avoid these things. In these forms, the division of labor ceases to bring forth solidarity and hence represent an anemic division of labor. If these things prevail, like industrial failures, crises, conflicts, and crimes, the division of labor ceases, and it becomes unable to make the solidarity in the society. Solidarity means some kind of unity. If these kind of problems occur there, the unity vanishes. So it becomes an anemic division of labor. Division of labor in society is actually different from occupational division of labor in the factory, as pointed out by Marx. Division of labor in the society is differ from occupational labor in the factory. Now, as these terms comes to our mind, we tend to think that it is similar to the division of labor in a factory. What comes to our mind immediately is a factory. How the laborers work, do different tasks in the factory. But this division of labor in society is differ from that. So at the beginning, Durkheim believed that a society with organic solidarity needed fewer common beliefs to bind members to the society. Fewer common beliefs are needed to make the unity with members in the society. But later, he changed his view on this. That even in societies where there is organic solidarity has reached its peak, it needed a common faith, a common conscience collective. So that is what he has found out. Even the organic now society, organic solidarity is needed a common faith, kind of a common uh, thing, common consciousness, collectiveness. And this would help the men to remain united and not to disintegrated into heap of mutually antagonistic and self-seeking individuals. Now, because of this unity, they this common faith, the collective conscience, they uh, tend to be united and not will disintegrated into into uh, into mutually and self-seeking individuals. We need not to have individual path and be have an antagonistic or opposite view from the society. Division of labor and anomy. Division of labor undoubtedly is an essential element of society. It's an essential part in the society, but it can do great harm to a society if it carried to extreme. Durkheim was aware of this potential harm. So he had cautioned against the adverse consequences of unregulated division of labor. So if goes to the extreme end of anything, it is not good. So that is what Durkheim has highlighted here. Anomy is one of such adverse consequences, and in fact, Durkheim was the first to use this concept. It's a Greek term, anomy, and the meaning of it is without norms or normlessness. Now, in societies, we have accepted norms, accepted attitudes, acceptable things. So, anomy means without norms or normless. So, anomy arises following a clash in one's own values with those of the society. So anomy happens due to a clash, due to a breakdown of one's own value. And the state of anomy, one is not clear in which way to go, how to behave, or how to come up to the society's expectations, and how to mold the environment to suit one's expectations. This is a kind of unsteady situation, anomy, and no proper direction. no guide on how to behave or how to realize the social expectations, a kind of things they are where they are is the state of anomie. Anomie is the strict counterpart of the idea of the social solidarity. Just as solidarity is a collective ideological integration, anomie is a state of confusion and insecurity, normlessness. So collective representations are in a state of decay. So anomie is a strict counterpart, opposite of the idea of social solidarity. Solidarity means unity. Anomie is separation, destruction. Solidarity is a collective ideological integration, integrate, join. Anomie, confusion, insecurity, normlessness, and it will make the decay of the society. A state of anomie leading to personal and social disorganization. According to Durkheim, the main problem of modern society is that the division of labor inevitably leads to feelings of individualism. Now, though there is division of labor, division of work is in the modern society, we have our own feelings towards individualism. Individualism is pursued at the cost of shared sentiments or beliefs. So we lose our shared sentiments, shared feelings or beliefs due to individualism. So if we have little commitment to shared norms, people lack social guidelines for personal conduct and are inclined to pursue their private interest. Now, if we don't have proper commitment to our shared norms, shared expectations, shared uh, attitudes, we do not get proper guide towards personal development. If we have private desires and we do not care for the uh, societal development as a whole, we tend to lose every good thing. So social norms become confused or break down, and people feel detached from their fellow beings. So due to anomie, social norms would break down, and people feel detached or being separated from their fellow people. This results in anomie, a state of normlessness in both society and the individual. Anomie. So social control of individual behavior becomes ineffective. Now, if in a state of anomie, it's useless to control individual behavior. And as a result of it, the society is threatened with disorganization or even disintegration. So due to social anomie, there are individual interests and people feel detached from other fellow beings, and social norms break down, society become disorganized or disintegrated, and there will be many more crimes and disorders, societal disorders like things. Widespread anomie seen in modern societies supports Durkheim's view that the division of labor and the resulting growth of individualism would break down the shared commitment to social norms. So, this anomie is widespreading in modern societies. Though there is division of labor, there is decrease, the increase, the growth of individualism. Because of this individualism, social norms break down. However, despite widespread anomie, modern societies do retain some broad consensus on norms and values. On the other hand, there's a good point. They still the modern societies uh, are able to retain some broad consensus or broad idea on these values and norms. So uh, when we can see this when we compare one society with another. Now, like United States with China, uh, though this consensus seems much weaker than that in pre-industrial societies, it is probably still strong enough to guide most individual behavior and to avert the social breakdown that Durkheim feared. Now, Durkheim feared that due to this anomie uh, and individualism, the society will break down. But that does not happen because there is still have strong uh, desire to guide the individual behavior. However, Durkheim's analyses remain valuable for his acute insight into the far-ranging effects that the division of labor brings on social and personal life. So, though we fear the breakdown of society according to the Durkheim's analysis, uh, we can still value the uh, effect of division of labor on personal and social life. Then we come to the third theory of Durkheim, theory and typology of suicide. Suicide is the act of taking one's own life, and it's an indication of disorganization in both the individual and society. Due to the disorganization of individual and also the society, the suicide act is taking place. If there is increasing number of suicides in the society, it is an indicator of a wrong thing somewhere in the societal system. So suicide figures prominently in the historical development of sociology because it was the subject of the first sociological data to test a theory. Now, Emil Durkheim originally published this theory of anthropology of suicide in 1897, and it was later published in 1952. Now, even though humans see themselves as individuals exercising free will and choice, their behaviors are often socially patterned and shaped. We cannot ignore this point. Though we act individually, we have our own likes and dislikes, but we are shaped by the society. Our behaviors are shaped by the society. So, Durkheim's study showed that even a highly personal act like suicide is influenced by the social world. Um, he studied this problem of suicide at some length. His third book, as I mentioned earlier, was published, Suicide was published in 1897. In many ways, this is related to his study of division of labor. It is an analysis of a phenomenon regarded as pathological, intended to throw light on the evil that threatens modern industrial society. This is suicide. Suicide is can be regarded as a phenomenon, very pathological phenomenon, and it is a threat to the modern industrial society, like an army. So this theory was cited as a monumental landmark in which conceptual theory and empirical research are brought together. So he begins this study of suicide with a definition of the phenomenon. And then he proceeds to refute the earlier interpretations of suicide, and finally he develops a general theory of the phenomenon. Let's see how this happens. Now, prior to Durkheim's study, there had been research conducted on suicide, but he was the first to insist that suicide is a sociological matter. Now, previous writings had acknowledged the influence of social factors on suicide. The previous researchers, previous writings on suicide, they have understood the influence of social factors, but they look to, they just limited their considerations to race, climate, or mental disorder to explain individuals' likelihood of committing suicide. But according to Durkheim, it is a social fact that could only be explained by other social facts. So according to Durkheim, suicide is a social fact and that can be explained with the help of other social facts. And it is a phenomenon that both patterned properties. It has a pattern. Now, in examining, now Durkheim was able to examine the official suicide records in France, and he was able to see that some people had a much more likelihood than others for suicide. He's discovered it like this. There was a likelihood that suicide is more among men than women. This was in France in like 1897 or 1890s, right? About 200 decades ago, 240 decades ago, and 30. Now, and he also saw Protestants, the suicide rate among Protestants than Catholics, and among wealthy than poor, among single than married people. Like, so there was an inclination, there was a pattern. So these findings led Durkheim to conclude that there are social forces external to the individual which affect suicide rates. And he related his explanation to the idea of social solidarity and integration and social regulation. Now, he believed people who were integrated strongly into social groups and who have desires and aspirations regulated by social norms were less likely to commit suicide. If you have strong bonds with the society, with your groups, you are less reluctant to have this. So he identified 4 types of suicides. Now, definition of suicide. Suicide refers to every case of death resulting directly or indirectly from a positive or negative death performed by the victim himself and which strives to produce the results. From this definition, it is clear that suicide is a conscious act, deliberate act, and the person concerned is fully aware of its consequences. For example, the person who shoots himself to death or drinks severe poison or jumps down from a 10th story of a building is fully aware of the result of such an act. So the main purpose, there are 2 main purposes of Durkheim's study. He wanted to establish his fundamental idea that suicide is also a social fact, and social order and disorder are at the very root of suicide. It's a social fact, not an individual fact. Durkheim used a number of statistical records for this. Abraham and Morgan see two primary reasons of Durkheim undertaking this statistical analysis as stated below. Reason behind using statistics for suicide research. While conducting these researches, he found explanations focusing on the psychology of the individual were inadequate. And experiments on suicide were obviously out of question. And the case studies of past suicides would be of little use because they did not provide reliable generalizations about all suicides. The survey methods were hardly appropriate because one cannot survey dead people. But statistics on suicides were readily available and Durkheim chose to analyze them. So you can consider these things. That is actually not an individual intention. It is some kind of action forced by the society. Earlier cases of suicide have of no use because those people are dead. They cannot explain it. There is no possibility to find out why they did such a thing. Durkheim displays an extreme form of sociological realism. Durkheim has selected the instance or the event of suicide to demonstrate the function of sociological theory. He strongly believes that suicide is not an individual act or a private and personal action, but it is caused by some power which is over and above the individual or super individual. So he stressed that suicide is not a personal situation by a manifestation of a social condition. Social condition has forced him to have it. He speaks suicidal currents as collective tendencies that dominate some vulnerable persons. Dominate some vulnerable, explodes now. If only a certain people are exposed to these, and that is a collective tendencies. An act of suicide is the manifestation of these currents. He rejects extra social facts as the causes of suicide. And he rejected most of the accepted theories of suicide which focused on extra social factors. And the reason for rejecting some of these factors are as follows. His monographic study demonstrated that heredity is not sufficient explanation of suicide. They are extra social factors, outward factors. and the heredity is not sufficient enough. And the climatic and geographic factors are equally insufficient as explanatory factors. They are also incapable of explaining a suicidal act. Likewise, the waves of imitation are inadequate explanations. And he also established the fact that suicide is not necessarily caused by psychological factors. So uh, he focused on these things. He rejected uh, heredity and climatic and geographic factors and waves of imitation and psychological factors. He rejected that these are enough or sufficient to uh, explain a suicidal case. Social forces that are real causes of suicide. It's an individual act, but its motives can be fully understood by reference to the social context in which it occurs. We have to study the social background of that individual in order to understand the suicidal act. While trying to substantiate this reference, Durkheim came to know that the incidence of suicide varied from one social group or setup to another. I have mentioned that earlier. Now here like this. Protestants were more likely to commit suicide than Catholics. And people in large cities were more likely than people in small communities. And people living alone were more likely than people living in families. And so Durkheim succeeded in identifying one variable that lay behind these differences. It was the extent to which the individual was integrated into a social bond with others. So people with strong social bonds do not tend or do not attempt to suicide. People with fragile or weaker ties to their community are more likely to take their own lives than people who have stronger ties. So this is a very important thing. So do not try to be avoided or get away from your bonds. Make tight bonds with your closed ones. So that would help to get rid of this kind of social anomaly, I would say. So it's an index to decay in social solidarity. I have mentioned earlier that social solidarity is the unity in the society. So suicide, on the other hand, an index of decay in the social solidarity, social unity. Now, Durkheim did not think that there could be a society where suicide does not occur. Right? No such, we can't have such a society. But it can be a normal, regular occurrence. But a society may witness a sudden increase in that act. So according to Durkheim, this increase could be taken as an index of disintegrating forces at work in a social structure. If there happens an increase of the rate of suicide in a society, it is an index that a kind of disintegrating or decaying force is work in the social structure. He also concluded that different rates of suicide are the consequences of differences in degree and type of social solidarity. According to the degree and the type of social solidarity, the rates can be different. So it may be taken as an index to decay in social solidarity. So suicidal rate is an index in the decay of social solidarity. According to him, he understood or classified suicides into three basic types: egoistic, altruistic, anomic. And there is another one also, fatalistic, but it is not mentioned here. Egoistic suicide, altruistic suicide, and anomic suicide are the three basic types according to Durkheim. These three types of suicides occur as an expression of group breakdown of some kind or the other. Now, all these three types, egoistic, altruistic, and anomic, are caused by group breakdown. And these types reveal different types of relationship between the actor and his society. So these three types is a kind of revealing. Egoistic suicide. It occurs as a product of relatively weak group integration. Low integration in society, and occur when an individual is isolated or when his or her ties to a group are weakened or broken. Right? Egoistic suicide may happen due to low integration with his peer members when the ties are, when the bonds get weakened. Now, for example, the low rates of suicide among Catholics can be explained by their strong social community. But on the other hand, the Protestants have personal and moral freedom, and that means that they stand alone before the God. So this extreme loneliness and excessive individualism may lead one to egoistic suicide. So individuals become more prone to egoistic suicide when they are detached from society and when the bonds which had previously tied them to their fellow beings become loose. So these are of vital importance, very important thing, right? So don't break free from your bonds. Have very tight bonds with your closed ones. It will help one eliminate egoistic suicide. Durkheim suggests that egoistic suicides are committed by those individuals who have the tendency to shut themselves up within themselves. Right? These suicides may happen to people who have a tendency to shut down themselves, shut themselves up. Now introvert, like I think introvert, they are not exposed to the society. They don't share their ideas or feelings with others. They tend to retain those feelings inside themselves. So there comes a point where they cannot bear up these things. Then they break down. So such individuals feel affronted, hurt, and ignored. And introvert traits gain an upper hand in them. So introverts, so those who bend towards themselves, they hide their feelings and thoughts to themselves. They limit their things to themselves, are introverts. So egoistic persons are aloof and cut off from the mainstream of society and do not take interest in societal or social matters. They refrain from social matters. Such persons get alienated and find it difficult to cope up with the social alienation and feel compelled to commit suicide. So when they get isolated, when they get alienated, they find it difficult to bear. They can't come out of this situation, very difficult situation for them. No sharing and bearing. So they are compelled to do this. Egoistic. So Durkheim considered the lack of integration of individual into the social groups as the main cause of egoistic suicide. Lack of integration of the individual into the social groups. He studied varying degrees of integration of individuals into their religion, family, political, and national communities. Degree of integration. Now, if you are a good follower of your religion, very little uh, uh, space for egoistic suicide. Or if you have a strong bond with your family, you can't avoid. You can avoid this. And if you have strong political or national ideas, you are joined to these kind of communities, uh, it is very unlikely to egoistic suicide. So he found that suicides among the Catholics were comparatively less than the Protestants. Is another finding that Catholicism is able to integrate its members more fully into its fold. So any religion which is able to uh, integrate its members more fully into it, it will help to prevent this uh, egoistic suicide. Now, in contrast, according to Durkheim, Protestantism fosters a spirit of free inquiry, permits great individual freedom, and lacks hierarchic organization and has fewer common beliefs and practices. So gets isolated. It is known that Catholic Church is more powerfully integrated than the Protestant Church. It is in this way that the Protestants are more prone to commit suicide than the Catholics. Hence, Durkheim generalized that lack of integration was the main cause of egoistic suicide. Lack of integration, lack of strong bonds. Altruistic suicide. Over integration of the individual into his social group is a major cause of altruistic suicide. Uh, it occurs actually when an individual is over integrated and the social bonds are too strong and values society more than himself or herself. In such a case, suicide becomes a sacrifice for the greater good. Uh, so this kind of suicide takes place in the form of a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice thing. In other words, altruistic suicide, an individual ends his life by a heroic means for a cause, principle, or ideal or value which is very dear to him. He does it for the as a sacrifice. In simple words, altruistic suicide implies taking of one's own life for the sake of a cause. So just like weak integration within society, a high level of social solidarity also induces suicide. So the two ends are not good. Low or weak integration within the society, not good, egoistic. So, and higher level of social unity, social solidarity, it is also become a cause. So some examples of them are in some primitive societies and in modern armies, we can see this altruistic suicides. Japanese sometimes illustrate this type of suicide. They call it harakiri. Japanese commit harakiri, that is, take their own life for the sake of the larger social unity. They believe that self-destruction would prevent the breakdown of social unity. For the sake of social unity, they take their own life. The practice of Sati Puja, which was once prevalent in North India, is another example of this kind. Altruistic suicide. Extreme social solidarity, because of extreme social solidarity. So self-immolation by Buddhist monks and self-destruction then we'll come to anomic suicide. The state of this anomic suicide is caused by a lack of social regulation. By this, Durkheim referred to the social conditions of anomy when people are rendered normless due to rapid change or instability in society. The loss of a fixed point of reference for norms and desires, such as in times of economic upheaval or in personal struggles like divorce, can upset the balance between people's circumstances and their desires. So it's a state of anomic suicide. It's a state of normlessness or degeneration in a society. In other words, anomic suicide follows catastrophic social changes when social life all around seem to go into pieces. According to Durkheim, when social relations get disturbed, both personal and social ethics become casualties. When the collective conscience weakens, men fall victim to anomic suicide. So without the social backing to which one is accustomed, life is judged to be not worth continuing. So that the results would be anomic suicide, lack of social regulation, breakdown of social relationships, and it's a catastrophic change, anomic situation, anomic due to social anomy. In modern times, breakdown of social norms and sudden social changes instigate one to anomic suicide. A sudden change has its vibrations both in social life and social relationship. There is a degradation in values of life, bringing about radical changes in the outlook of some individuals. The change being sudden, adjustment becomes difficult. If a sudden thing happens, sudden breakdown of relations, sudden breakdown in social life, uh, the, uh, the person think the life has no value, and it becomes difficult to adjust life for the situation. It is this inability to sudden social disruption which leads one to suicide. So according to Durkheim, not only economic disaster and industrial crisis, but sudden economic prosperity can also cause disruption and deregulation and finally suicide. Right now, sometimes we tend to think that economic disasters and industrial the crisis would cause for this, but sudden economic prosperity also can cause the disruption and deregulation of the society and for uh, suicide. Now, I would like you to uh, think about Durkheim's theory and typology of suicide. And please take 5 minutes and get ready to explain your ideas about Durkheim's theory on uh, typology of suicide. Now take some time. Okay. Uh, yes. Who can name the three types of suicides according to their kind? Yes, Mayumi Karunaratne. Can you mention the three types of suicides? Mayumi, Dhananjana, are you here? Dhananjana, yes. Can you name the three types of suicides according to the kind? Hello?
Egoist suicide,
Yes.
altruistic suicide, and anomic suicide.
Yes. Uh, yes. How does this, or what causes this egoistic suicide?
Mm, uh, Egoistic suicide means individuals feel disconnected or isolated from the community. They may feel meaningless or something like that side we call as egoistic suicide.
So, if we happen to see this kind of individuals who try to be aloof from the society or their groups, what is our duty should be?
Uh, Not to leave them alone in the society.
Yes, but you can see it's very prevalent, no? Now people try to be, now though we have a globalized village, we are kind of separated from each other. Thankful to the uh, internet and all that, neither. So, yes, okay, right. Then who is ready? Gayani is Gayani. Yes, can you explain your ideas about altruistic? Yes, Gayani, are you here? She is busy. Hamiza, ah, Hamiza, are you here? Hamiza. Safana, Safana, they have any problem? Okay, some have Gayani and Hamisha have given our ideas, answers. Okay. Uh, right. So, what does Durkheim say about suicide? Is it an individual act or another thing? Is it an individual act? So, right, Hamiza, uh, according to Durkheim, what would be the cause for egoistic suicide?
Lack of interconnection between the society.
Yes. Now, uh, as individuals of the society, uh, what would be our, I think, duty or responsibility? I mean, responsibility uh, to remove this kind of pathetic situations happen in our society. Yes. How do we eliminate this kind of suicides from our society? Yeah, Hamiza?
We can, the social groups, a society can organize more. I think we have to reduce the internet time. We have to be more with the society physically than the than in the.
Yes.
We can organize the community programs within a community, like games within a society. There are more ideas. It's not coming to say
Right. Thank you.
at the moment.
Yes. Thank you for giving ideas. Yes. So we have to build up anyhow the social relationships. We can use our religion, families, or some kind of other gatherings, but honesty should be there. We should have some kind of honest feeling, honest uh, and all kind of good moral values should be there. It I think you can understand what I mean. Now, if we are not honestly doing something, it lacks something. So if we organize gathering or some kind of functions in order to gather people, gather our relations, that kind of true, there must be a responsibility and honesty. I mean, good values. They should be kind of integrating or developing good qualities. Dhananjana, do you agree with me? Dhananjana.
Excuse me a minute. And also we have to follow the ethics, that means the
Yes.
social codes of a
Yeah.
society.
Mm. Yeah, sure. So, how does altruistic suicides occur? How do they occur? Because of what? Can anyone explain that? Yeah, I think no need to mention your names. Please feel free. Yeah, Hamiza.
It happens because of the over integration of the individual into the social groups.
Mhm. Can you give examples?
That means the more causes, principle, ideas, values of the societies, I mean, more into a human or individual. He sacrificed himself,
Yeah.
society.
But do we accept it as a good thing?
Mostly no. But of course,
Yes. Okay. Then what is the next one? Anomic. What is anomic suicide? How does that occur? Yes. It's a kind of normlessness, state of normlessness or degeneration of society. And it's a catastrophic social change. And so how does this happen? Anomic, can you explain this situation? Dharanjana or Hamiza? What is the kinds views?
when the social relations get disturbed, both in personal and through the social ethics, this suicide occurs, according to him, Durkheim.
Okay. So, how was today's lesson? Was there anything difficult to understand?
No, ma'am. It's okay to understand.
Right. So, so we can conclude our lesson pointing to the things that we have discussed.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Yeah.
There are more students, but the less participants are connected because maybe normally other lectures start at 7:30, and this lecture is normally 7. Maybe they are not aware.
Uh-huh. Other lectures?
Starting normally at 7:30.
Uh-huh.
At our class, there are normally 30 students around.
Uh-huh.
So
So,
here for the maybe 7, maybe they are not aware of the time.
were you not informed about it?
No, we were shared the link.
Uh-huh.
Maybe they are not aware of the time. In the group, the link is shared.
Yes. So what should be done?
It's okay, madam. We will inform them again to join the
Yeah.
lecture.
Yes, normal that today only six mean including me and the institute, no? So two other than four, no?
Yeah,
Very
that means the earlier first one also there were less members.
yes. So better to inform your friends.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
for your concern. So goodbye then.